Does your dog wake you up at 2 a.m., aggressively chewing their paws until they are raw, keeping both of you exhausted? If their paws smell like corn chips and they cannot stop scratching, another expensive medicated shampoo from the pet store is simply not the answer. The real fix for this endless cycle is sitting right now in your kitchen pantry, and it costs less than a cup of coffee. Today, we are doing a complete 7-day reset for your dog's skin, addressing that miserable itch from the outside in and the inside out. I am a veterinarian and I have spent over 20 years watching these simple, natural additions transform miserable, itchy dogs into comfortable, happy pets right in my clinic. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from, subscribe to the channel, and hit the like button so we can help more pet parents give their dogs the relief they deserve. Let's grab a notepad and get started on this reset. It is genuinely heartbreaking to watch your dog scratch until they bleed, and it is incredibly easy to feel like you have failed them when expensive specialty shampoos don't work. I see pet parents in my clinic every single week who are exhausted and frustrated, thinking they are doing something wrong. But you are not a bad pet parent. Skin issues in dogs are incredibly stubborn and deeply complex, working beneath the surface where shampoo can never reach. The fact that you are here right now, looking for a better, more natural way to help them, shows exactly how much you love your dog. The pet care industry wants you to believe that the only way to soothe your dog's skin is to buy an endless supply of $30 medicated shampoos and synthetic allergy chews. They profit immensely from you treating the exact same surface symptom over and over again without ever addressing the root cause. The most common myth I hear is that dogs just get itchy sometimes, and the only real solution is a strong allergy shot or a daily steroid pill. While medication is absolutely necessary in severe cases, chronic itching and yeast overgrowth almost always stem from a compromised skin barrier and an unbalanced gut. When a dog's gut microbiome is fundamentally out of balance, inflammation spikes throughout their entire body, and the skin, which is their largest organ and their primary defensive shield, loses its natural protective barrier. This dangerous vulnerability allows natural skin yeasts, like Malassezia, to multiply rapidly in warm, damp areas like the paws and ears. Treating the skin with just a topical shampoo is exactly like mopping the floor under a leaky roof. It looks better for a minute, but the water keeps coming. Fixing the gut is like finally patching the hole in the roof. We need to stop the urgent itch cycle on the outside immediately, so the deeper internal healing can finally take over and rebuild their natural defenses from the ground up, providing real, lasting comfort for your dog. Before we open the pantry, we need to recognize exactly what your dog is trying to tell you, starting with what I call the 2 a.m. thump. You know the exact sound. You are fast asleep, and suddenly you hear the rhythmic, desperate thumping of your dog's hind leg, scratching their ear or belly in the middle of the night. An occasional scratch during the day is perfectly normal for any dog, but when it disrupts their sleep and yours, it indicates an active, severe itch cycle that has overwhelmed their nervous system. That intense nighttime scratching means their skin barrier is actively failing, allowing microscopic environmental irritants to trigger a massive inflammatory response. If we ignore this early warning sign, that simple itch quickly turns into severe, localized trauma as the dog desperately tries to find some relief by chewing their own skin until it is raw and bleeding. The next critical sign is one that almost every dog owner has noticed at some point, and it is the unmistakable scent of the corn chip paws. If you lean down and smell a distinct yeasty corn chip or Frito odor coming directly from your dog's feet, often accompanied by obsessive paw licking, you are dealing with a classic Malassezia yeast overgrowth. Malassezia is a completely natural skin yeast that lives on all dogs without causing any issues normally. But when the skin's delicate pH balance is thrown off and the immune system is distracted by internal inflammation, this yeast multiplies rapidly in the warm, damp spaces between their toes. The constant, obsessive licking only makes the problem significantly worse by adding more saliva and moisture to the area, creating the absolute perfect breeding ground for even more yeast to thrive. This is exactly why those over-the-counter soothing sprays rarely work long-term. They might temporarily numb the skin for an hour or two, but they do absolutely nothing to change the acidic environment that the yeast is actively thriving in, leaving your dog stuck in a miserable, endless cycle of biting and licking their paws. The final and most urgent sign you might find is the sudden appearance of a red hot spot. You might be petting your dog and suddenly uncover a red, moist, and often hairless patch of skin that feels hot to the touch. and your dog simply will not stop chewing it. A hot spot is essentially a small brush fire on your dog's skin. It is a localized bacterial infection that can erupt in a matter of hours from constant chewing or licking. When you see this, the situation has escalated from a simple itch to an active infection that needs immediate, targeted soothing before it spreads. If left completely untreated, that small hot spot can rapidly become a deep bacterial infection requiring strong antibiotics. The secret to stopping this escalation is a two-step approach. We must extinguish the fire immediately on the outside, and then we rebuild the internal defenses. Let's start the 7-day reset by immediately extinguishing that fire on the outside, beginning with topical coconut oil. When you find a hot spot or a patch of intensely dry, flaky skin, coconut oil acts as a rapid cooling relief agent. It has powerful natural antimicrobial properties that help fight off surface bacteria, and it immediately restores essential moisture to the compromised skin barrier. The application method is incredibly simple. Apply a very thin, light layer directly to the affected area just once a day. You only need a tiny amount. Slathering it on thickly will only make a greasy mess and slow down the healing process. The crucial safety warning here is that you must not let your dog lick off large amounts of the coconut oil. While a tiny lick won't hurt them, consuming large amounts of straight fat can trigger severe loose stool or even risk a dangerous and painful condition called pancreatitis. Apply it very thinly. Distract them with a brisk walk or a favorite chew toy for a few minutes while it fully absorbs into the skin, and watch how quickly the angry redness begins to naturally subside. For a dog that is suffering from a frantic full-body itch, we need a larger reset button, and that comes in the form of a colloidal oatmeal bath. Colloidal oatmeal is simply oats that have been milled into a very fine powder, allowing them to remain suspended in water. When your dog soaks in this, the oatmeal binds directly to their skin, creating a protective, soothing layer that locks in moisture and aggressively brings down surface inflammation. Dissolve 1 cup of colloidal oatmeal into a tub of lukewarm water, never hot water, as heat will instantly make the itching worse. Let your dog soak in this milky water for about 10 minutes, gently pouring it over their back. It acts like hitting the pause button on their highly reactive nervous system, calming the urgent need to scratch and giving their skin a much-needed break from the constant trauma of their claws. To specifically target the yeast behind those smelly corn chip paws, we turn to a remarkably simple 50-50 apple cider vinegar soak. Raw apple cider vinegar is incredibly effective at immediately changing the pH level of your dog's skin, creating a highly acidic environment where the Malassezia yeast simply cannot survive and multiply. Mix exactly half water and half raw apple cider vinegar in a small bowl. You can either dip your dog's paws directly into the liquid mixture for 30 seconds, or use a thoroughly soaked cotton ball to aggressively wipe between their toes once a day. However, there is a strict and non-negotiable veterinary safety limit you absolutely must follow. Never, under any circumstances, use apple cider vinegar on raw, broken, or bleeding skin. If they have chewed their paws raw, the vinegar will burn terribly and cause your dog severe pain. Only use this specific soak on intact, itchy skin. Within just a few days of starting this simple daily wipe, you will notice that pungent corn chip smell fading away entirely, and your dog will finally leave their paws alone and get some peace. Now that we have calmed the external itch, we must address the internal root cause, and it starts with high-quality omega-3 fatty acids from water-packed sardines. If coconut oil is the bucket of water for the immediate fire, omega-3s are the steady rain that prevents future fires. These fatty acids work deep within the body to drastically reduce systemic inflammation, calming the immune system so it stops overreacting. Feed 1 small sardine for a small dog, 2 for a medium dog, and 3 for a large dog, about 2 to 3 times a week. It is absolutely critical that you buy sardines packed only in water, with no added salt or oils. These tiny fish are a powerhouse of accessible nutrition, working far better than expensive, highly processed fish oil supplements to rebuild a resilient skin barrier from the inside out. To completely rebuild the compromised gut microbiome, we add a simple probiotic in the form of plain kefir or plain yogurt. This introduces millions of beneficial bacteria that actively crowd out the bad bacteria, restoring the vital internal balance that controls your dog's entire immune system. Add 1 teaspoon for small dogs, 2 for medium dogs, and 1 tablespoon for large dogs, given daily mixed right into their regular food. The safety rule here is absolute and critical. It must be plain and unsweetened, and you must rigorously check the label to ensure it is completely free of xylitol, also known as birch sugar, which is highly toxic and deadly to dogs. I recently treated Daisy, a 5-year-old golden retriever whose paws smelled exactly like a corn chip factory and who was chewing them completely raw every night. Her owner felt deeply defeated after multiple failed medicated shampoo trials. We started the simple vinegar paw wipes and added kefir and sardines to her daily bowl. Within 3 weeks, the terrible smell was entirely gone. The obsessive chewing stopped, and Daisy was finally sleeping soundly again. There is a popular home remedy that claims to act as a bug shield against fleas and ticks, using brewer's yeast to alter the dog's natural scent. You can add half a teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight to their food, and while it provides some excellent B vitamins for the skin, we need to have a very serious conversation about its limits. Brewer's yeast is like wearing a light citronella bracelet. It might offer a tiny bit of help, but you would never walk naked into a mosquito swarm wearing only a bracelet. Home remedies like brewer's yeast or garlic, which is actually highly toxic to dogs, do not and cannot ever replace real, scientifically proven veterinary flea and tick preventives. In the United States, ticks carry incredibly dangerous, life-threatening diseases like Lyme disease, ehrlichiosis, and anaplasmosis. Protecting your dog with a real, veterinary-approved tick preventive is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to keep them safe from these devastating illnesses year-round. Knowing the limits of home care is just as important as knowing the remedies themselves, because waiting too long can be incredibly dangerous for your dog. If you ever notice that your dog's skin is bleeding, oozing thick pus, or if they are suddenly losing weight and acting lethargic, you must skip the kitchen remedies entirely and see your veterinarian immediately. Chronic yeast overgrowth that goes untreated will eventually thicken the skin, turning it black and leathery, and chronic unchecked inflammation severely stresses their immune system. An unbalanced gut doesn't just cause paw licking, it severely affects nutrient absorption and can even alter your dog's mood, making them irritable and anxious. We want to support their health naturally, but we must never let an active, painful infection spiral out of control while waiting. As we wrap up this 7-day reset, the golden rule of veterinary nutrition is to never introduce all these internal additions at once. Your dog's sensitive stomach needs time to adjust, so start the first week with just the plain kefir to gently introduce the probiotics. The following week, you can safely introduce the sardines, rotating them through the week rather than feeding everything on the exact same day. The external treatments like the topical coconut oil and the soothing oatmeal bath can be used immediately as needed to provide that instant relief. What is your dog's breed? And have you ever noticed that distinct corn chip smell on their paws? Tell me in the comments below. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button so we can help more pet parents discover these solutions. A dog's skin issues must be fought on 2 fronts, and you can heal them from the inside out. Give your good boy or girl a gentle scratch behind the ears for me.